at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the line, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's noon Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes every day, every weekday. We come to you live on the Daily Gun Show YouTube channel. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live chat that comes in over at Gun Channels and over on YouTube. When it's all over, we'll let it render into a video. We'll take the audio from that and post it as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. So we encourage anybody that's listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback on whatever platform you're listening on, so we know where you are, where our listeners are, and also to help our show get recommended to more listeners. We do appreciate that favor. So there's 4 hosts. 3 of us are here today. We don't know where Bob is. He's playing hooky. We got Daniel jumping in from Illinois, though. Thanks for joining.
Glad to be here.
We got Z jumping in from Hawaii. Thanks for joining.
Aloha.
And I'm down here in Arizona. So today is our first day on the broadcasting back over on the Daily Gun Show YouTube channel. So thanks to everybody who figured that out and joined us over there. Thanks for all the people on Gun Channels who don't care one way or the other which side of YouTube we're coming from. But we did figure out the technical hurdle to be able to embed the videos over on Gun Channels, which was the thing that was preventing us from just having the show over here in the first place. So it's no longer on the Gun Website's YouTube channel, and from now on the shows will just be over here. We also have our own iTunes account, Daily Gun Show at iTunes. So we encourage people to, well, we're going to ask people to do the favor of downloading the iTunes software again, subscribing to the channel, I guess, or whatever you do over there, and then giving us some feedback. We do appreciate that. It really does help the podcast get recommended to more people. And now that we've removed it from the I Hate Guns podcast, which it had lived on before, it'll need all the help it can get to get some new ratings and some standalone comments and things like that. So aside from that, though, we're starting the new, well, we're getting into the new scheduling where we're going to be scheduling a month out. On Saturday, we spent a while filling out the schedule, invited some people into a live hangout, and we went through and talked about some of the topic ideas for the month. So looking forward to doing that in the future. Worked out pretty well, and that way we got an entire show scheduled out for the month, and that gives us hopefully some opportunity to schedule guests and people who are experts to talk on some of the topics we'll have throughout the month. So I guess I kind of went off schedule a little bit. We usually talk about the segments today and kind of take a break and talk about what happened overnight, or in this case over the weekend. So that was the big show thing that happened over the weekend. Anything else happen worth talking about?
President Trump will announce his Supreme Court justice pick tomorrow. He announced that, I think, over the weekend, that he will make a public announcement on Tuesday. Everything that we were wondering about, worried about, when we were worried about Hillary being able to pick, well, it all comes to the forefront tomorrow, for the pick anyway, for the choice.
Yeah, and I do have to say that I one thing I definitely like is the fact that he's not taking forever to do some of what I consider to be the simple things that he said he would get done. Now he still has a ways to go, but I'm just saying that I like the start.
As far, nope, you go, G.
You know who it is?
No, he has not said. That's the whole kick in the pants part of this. It's almost like it's the season finale of The Apprentice. You gotta tune in just to know.
But typically in other administrations, regardless of party, it's always been, we're going to put together a group and we're going to decide this, and then I'll make the final pick, and da-da-da-da-da, even though they knew about it way ahead of time. I just really like the idea that he didn't sit on this thing forever, as well as other issues, that he's actually appears to be a man of action.
Other than that, I don't know about any gun news per se over the weekend.
Yes, I've not heard anything in regards to the Safe Hearing Act, either on the national level or on my local state level. Because on my state level of Illinois, we are not allowed any NFA items, and there's currently a Senate bill in the Illinois Senate going over and discussing whether they will allow suppressors to be allowed in the state of Illinois.
I take that back. Actually, I think it was over the weekend / Friday that in Hawaii there may be a bill for the ability to use a suppressor when hunting. Now, it hasn't even come out of committee or anything like that, but I did see it in one of the feeds that I had. So for as much worrying as I've been doing about gun laws and about the gun laws in the state of Hawaii, especially with it being a Democrat, not just controlled, but solely occupied by state Congress, that there have been more bills proposed pro Second Amendment stuff at the beginning of this year than I want to say almost the entirety of the time that I have lived here, which is amazing and surprising all at the same time. And I would also like to say to Dr. No and to you, sir, Meka Leka Hai, Meka Haini Ho as well.
And for the rest of us, that means what?
You've never watched? Never mind. To those that know, and then to those that don't, will wonder.
We were never part of Z's Big Adventure.
Yeah, there you go. See, G knows. But yeah, so that was one of the things that got proposed, I think, either late Friday or this weekend was one more thing, and that was for the ability for hunters to be able to utilize a suppressor in the state of Hawaii, which is, again, amazing stuff. And I don't know that the majority of these things are going to happen on any level, because, like I said, we only have Democrats literally in the Senate and the House of Representatives here in the state right now. So I don't know how any of it's going to pass, but I at least like seeing things being put forward. Which is good. So that's all I got about this weekend. Dano saying the thing about Illinois reminded me about it.
Gotcha.
Right, so
anything else before we fire it up?
Yep, so we're getting into this week's topics. We'll be talking about the week. Then let's start out with that. So today we're going to be talking about how to use social media, and we're talking about strengthening the community. We'll talk about integrally suppressed pistols in the gun tech segment of today's show. We'll be doing the Second Amendment section tomorrow and talking about that Hearing Protection Act. We have a good idea, bad idea on gun tattoos. Looks like we've already had some questions coming in for the Q&A section tomorrow. So if you have any specific questions for the hosts, feel free to send those in to our email address, dailygunshow@gmail.com. On Wednesday, we have our CCW topic, and we'll be talking about traveling in cars or flying. Then we have an entertainment section on Wednesday. We'll be talking about heroes who have been authors, so authors who are heroes.
Woohoo!
Then we have our tactical quiz on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we have a big elaborate tactical quiz with all kinds of fabulous prizes. But at any point during any show, we could have our tactical pop quiz happen. And there's also fabulous prizes available for the winners of that. Let's see. Then on Thursday, we'll start off with gun stuff and our new topic. And we'll be talking about guns in everyday life. And then our training segment, we'll be talking about shotgun sports. On Thursdays, we also talk about shooting events that are coming up on the calendar over at gunchannels.com. So we encourage everybody to use the calendar over there, since Gun Channels is a community and it's completely free to use. The calendar is one of the resources we have over there. So any shooting related event you might be either a participant of or you attend it, or you're you like the event or you wish you could go, post it in the calendar and let other people know about it. And on Thursdays, we'll talk about it on this show. Let's see, on Fridays, we're going to talk about our alternative gun topic. We'll be talking about appraising insurance appraisals. insuring your firearms and whatnot. Then we'll be talking about the different types of FFLs for the gun business section of the show. And then we wrap up the week and talk about gun deals on Fridays. So that'll be the week. On Fridays when we do our Patreon show. So on the end of the week, we'll do the opposite of what we're doing right now. We'll look back on the week and what we covered, any news or anything like that. And the idea is that if you're going to listen to just a couple of shows during the week and not every single day that we broadcast, you'll get an idea of what we're talking about at the beginning of the week, like a table of contents. And at the end of the week, we'll wrap it up with an index. So if you only listen to 2 shows, you listen to the 2 bookends, and hopefully you'll figure out everything that happened during the week, or at least a summary of it.
And before we go any further, G-Web's alluded to something, and I just want to go ahead and finish it off, is Mr. Johnson, we received both your emails, and they will be in the Q&A section tomorrow during the show. So thank you very much for sending that in. And anyone else who wants to send us their thoughts about the show or any questions, send that to dailygunshow@gmail.com.
Right on. So that'll break us into the next segment of the show. We'll talk about using social media. I do that every Monday, so that we continue to talk about the nuts and bolts, how we make the internet work, so that people that are creating gun-related content can do so better. But before we do, we like to break between the first and second segment to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels.
Okay.
Had to stop that dog. Just like I don't know if you could hear it, but all I could hear was this dog eating. So today we're featuring Amit, which I don't know, I'm always saying it wrong. Amit. Amit, our member from one of our members from Israel, the one that's most active, and a representative of one of the international set on Gun Channel. So I think I mentioned it before, when we built Gun Channels, had really no, actually I ripped out all the international stuff. I'm not much of an international type. So I ripped out all the international stuff and replaced it with like shotguns and pistols and things like that. Since we had a section for that, I just used it to help people decide what kind of guns they were into. Anyhow, a bunch of international people signed up anyway, and there was no barrier to them. And Amit is one that not only signed up, but participates in the chats quite often. So I think it's been great. It gives us some insight to what it's like in another country, another perspective from our always inside the United States perspective on things. And obviously he's a gun owner and enthusiast, so it's really cool to see what gun ownership is like in different parts of the world.
And especially since he's from a country where guns are not a right, they are a privilege. And he's one of the very few people that is legally allowed to conceal carry. And he's able to do that. So he adds something to the show, concealed carrying, that that we all don't necessarily have the same environment in. So I find that very interesting.
Well, and he brings a different perspective on a lot of things. It's not like he necessarily lives in a war zone, so to speak, but he also does kind of live in a war zone.
Or adjacent.
Right.
His country is surrounded by people that want to destroy his country.
Yeah.
All right.
So yes, Amit, good person. Glad he's part of Gun Channels. Absolutely.
Yep.
We'd like to take a break like that just to feature somebody over there. If you'd like to be featured, if you'd like to recommend somebody to be featured, feel free to contact us. Like we said, we have an email, easy to remember, Daily Gun Show, which is our show's name, @gmail.com. And I think it's also a good time to say thanks to everybody who did follow us over to the new channel. We have quite a few viewers right now, so thanks for that. And we'll dig into the how to use social media segment of the show.
Hey, G-Web, before you start on that particular something I just wanted to throw out there and mention is for those of you, if you're not able to necessarily, if you normally listen live, but you occasionally don't get a chance, you can always catch us on iTunes. And I just put the links both on YouTube as well as in Gun Channels as to where you can find us on iTunes. So if you want to catch up with the shows, or you're going on vacation, whatever, and you come back and just, looking for something to help kill the time while you're doing something else, just go ahead, download the iTunes segments and check it out. So go ahead and take it away.
Right. So this came in as an email, I forget from who, a while back, or maybe it was a comment and we went with it. But the question was, how do we strengthen the grassroots movement to get the facts and references straight on our side? There was more to it than that, but that's the part we're going to address today. So we've been doing the show now for about a year, and every Monday in the middle segment, I like to devote the time to talking about how to maintain a channel, create a channel, create content, efficient ways to get the content from a camera or a phone onto either an editing platform or something where you can manipulate it to get a final product that you can then share with everybody, to do things like watermark, to enhance or edit or manipulate the photos so that they look the way you want them to, or have some artistic style that you want, and then to share them so that they can either be successful or popular, or just get across the information you're trying to get across. So with that in mind, I think this is a 600-day window or something that we have to hone these skills, or maybe even better yet, just apply our skills that we've honed over the last few years. So I'd really like to kick that up a notch. Like I say, we're going to start planning the show out 30 days in advance, so that we can have an opportunity to bring people in for these segments that can offer more insight and make these slots that we've created over the last year in the week with an audience as effective as possible. So, all of us talking to each other and patting each other on the back is one thing, but we build this stuff so that it can be useful. And the way that it's useful is in a time when it's necessary to mobilize. So to address this question, how do we strengthen the grassroots movement to get the facts and references straight? I suggest we've got lots of those resources that we've been building over the last few years. I think now is our time to use those resources. So right now I'm putting out a challenge for the couple of people that are listening. I'm assuming these are the devoted people that like our show, like what we're putting out there. They don't just wander in assuming we're going to talk about, some new paint job or some new way to whittle your initials in your slide. We're talking about how to use the platforms that we enjoy to entertain ourselves and to inform ourselves, to hone them into tools, weapons that we can use to get information that's crucial out at times when it's necessary. And again, I'll suggest that now is the time that it is necessary. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm putting a call out there to people that want to do more than just listen to the show and that want to be a part of this. We're going to be devoting this segment on Mondays to this portion of our efforts. And again, I'm not here to preach for another year on this segment of the show. It's time for us to do something. So I'm looking for people to use that email address, dailygunshow@gmail.com, to say, I'm in. What do you need? Here's my resources. So send in an email with what you can do. I know Smeggy's out there listening a lot. He's got some abilities and spreadsheets. He shows me tips and tricks. Night Strike was showing us some stuff on GIMP the other day. Whatever the hell it is you do, you've got skills and abilities that can add to the collective. So now is the time to gather those resources. So in this segment of the show, to address this question specifically, how do we strengthen the grassroots movement? First thing we do is we gather our resources. And this segment of the show is where I'm gathering those resources from our audience. And then going forward on this segment of the show, in future shows and in future segments of the Gun Channels University podcast that we'll do, we'll start to put a determined effort into, at the same time, helping people to know the basics and learn the basics, but also get people motivated. And that's the next step. Is we've got people that have been watching how to do stuff. Now let's start collecting those people who have done stuff. And if we're all walking in the same direction, let's figure out how to tether our ropes to the same thing, the Second Amendment, and let's start moving that in the direction that we're walking. I don't know what else to say on this one.
Let me throw something else out there, and I think I kind of know part of the answer, but I want you to be able to explain at least your perspective of it. Why now is it time to necessarily go to action versus at some point in the past? Why is now more important?
Because we have an opportunity in the next few years before the next election cycle, the 2-year election cycle, where we might see a change in the Congress. Right now we have we're okay in the House, and we have a normal, what do they call it, a It's a regular majority in the Senate, so we don't have a complete given, but we have a pretty decent opportunity now. And since Trump isn't going to just hand things out, he doesn't have the time or the inclination to just give us everything from the Second Amendment. It's our opportunity to bring stuff to him, and we have the best position that we've ever had in any of our lifetimes for that stuff that we bring them to be walked right through. So especially depending on how we can present it, when we have things like the Safe Hearing Act, which is a safety concern, we should be able to bring that in such a way that it has very little chance of resistance. We have no necessity to compromise. So we're in an opportunity here where, or at least we have the opportunity now for unprecedented amount of movement. And if we can't mobilize our base at a time when we're not under stress, then we've lost an opportunity. And I don't want to see us lose that.
Exactly, and I agree with you 100%. We have a period of time where both the Senate and the House and the executive branch are willing to listen to us, and if we don't, they're not going to give us anything that we don't ask for. So we have to be sure to make our voices known and clear, and have a consistent message.
I'm not necessarily convinced that they will listen to us, but I agree with the fact that we still have to voice as loud and as concise as we can.
Well, we're strong
because nothing from them is required, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not. So we're strong and we're able. So when it was required of us in the beginnings of 2013, at the end of 2012, the tax started coming. The beginning of 2013, we saw a need to defend, and we did so very well. And that's what prompted all of us to have these discussions, that we need to keep this level of grassroots activism alive. And we did things to foster that. You can only do so much when you're not under threat. So at some point we lived for years under the assumption of compromise. Since there was more of a 50-50 type of situation, it was always a compromise type of thing. We never saw us gaining ground without giving some, and we always saw us defending our ground while giving something up. It's just always been that playing field. We're in a different situation now, so we can either sit back and breathe easily because we're not under attack, and that's always an option. However, I think we have a better potential to encourage people to get together and work and move when we're not under threat, because again, we have the ability. We've seen us use the ability most recently with the M855. That was an ATF decision that they put out through their normal channels. It was disseminated through FFLs. The bloggers and stuff saw that, brought it to the attention of the new social medias. The social medias caught wind of it. It went viral on its own. The regular established media caught hold of it, saw that it was a potential easy clickbait. It was easy easy headlines, easy way to make some money. So they were opportunistic. They grabbed on it. It worked well, and the M855 ammo ban was prohibited or prevented due to public outrage. We didn't capitalize on that by using it as a thing to hold up as a victory. We just, again, breathed easy and went along. But I think we should go back and learn from that. And again, there was a threat that we responded to, but we are Minutemen. We don't need to only react to threats. We can also be aware of potential threats. And by being a strong resistance, we, again, become a non-advantageous political adversary. So when it's time for the next Hillary to come along and decide that guns are a worthwhile opponent for them, they're going to look at the real situation and go, nope, these people are solidified. This is a suicide mission. Let's not go after guns. Let's go after something else. Let's go after immigration. Let's go after that wall or something. So we can, again, lose the opportunity here to get together and learn how to work together when we're not under threat, so that we become the kind of political adversary that no one wants to deal with. Not because they're afraid of us, but they know that we're together. And if we're going to learn how to work together, we have to do it when there's not a threat. So this is, again, not only an opportunity for us to have the doors open for us, but it's an opportunity for us to learn how to work together when we're not scared. Uh, we can work when we're scared, but we shouldn't need to work together only when we're scared.
Exactly, and I agree. And if we say nothing, we're guaranteed to get exactly what we asked for. Nothing.
Exactly. So to answer the question again, specifically what we're talking about in this segment, how do we strengthen the grassroots movement? We're going to devote, the 3 or 4 of us here are going to devote some time to this show every week. And then we're going to, again, try to do this in a way that we have people we can bring on. We're going to talk about how to, in this particular segment of the show, next week we're going to talk about how to get images up into the internet. But we're going to talk about cameras after that. Hopefully we'll have some experts on who can talk to us about choosing a camera. And then once you got a camera, how to use it well. We're going to talk about branding in a future show. I'm going to try to bring on some people that do, that do well in getting brands out there, so that we're, again, helping people as individuals to do their content better and easier, so that the process of it isn't a burden or it isn't a hurdle. And instead, what we're saying is what we're focusing on and not how we get it said. All right, so with that, I think we can dig into the next segment.
Shoots.
Thinking about putting some segment music in here. So if somebody's got some ideas for transition music or something, I don't know if that makes it
Segue.
Segue music. Or maybe some if we have the second.
There you go. You asked for it, you got it.
You got it, baby.
I did not ask for it.
You asked for it. That's what you get for asking for it. Is it that time?
Oh, we can make it that time, sure. I was just joking, but why not?
I mean, who wants to really sit through that twice?
No, we don't want that again.
You really think I was going to do that over and over and over again? I could now that I know that you enjoy it so much, I might do it just for your pleasure.
Excellent.
But as long as you mention it, why not?
There you go.
So today we have a question from Angry American. So thank you very much, Angry. Have you seen the answer, Z?
I have, but let's reassure or make sure that our audience is aware what's going on. They may have missed the
yes. I didn't do my
music.
usual intro. We are having the tactical pop quiz of the day right now. So if you're over on YouTube, make sure you get your cursor down in the text box, get your fingers all limber, ready to type. Over on Gun Channels, you do the same. So, y'all ready?
Yep, I know I am.
All right, here we go. Again, thanks again for Angry American for sending this one in. What firearm was used by Paul Kersey as the vigilante in the original Death Wish? What firearm was used by Paul Kersey as the vigilante in the original Death Wish?
G-Webs, is that the one that he got from the Tucson Gun Club?
You got it from the guy from Rockford Files.
Yeah, but at the Tucson Gun Club, yes? Yep. Brent 10 is incorrect. Python is incorrect. CZ, some manner of, is incorrect. Keep guessing, though, fellas, ladies, gentlemen. No, it is not the Bren 10. It's not the Beretta 84. It's not a Smith & Wesson 357. 44 Automag. And again, this is the first Death Wish. 475 Wildly Magnum is incorrect.
You got 380 High Point, Smith & Wesson 357.
Those are incorrect. The Remington 1858 New Army is incorrect.
Police positive.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, Ralph. I'm thinking.
I was thinking it was Raphael. Yeah.
Yeah. Raphael. Congratulations. Colt Police positive. Now, just for you all out there, that came in 32. So congratulations, Ralph. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
I always wondered, how do you get Ralph out of Raphael?
Because I don't know, it's just a habit of shortening names.
You put it up in front of the F, and then you forget about those other letters.
I mean, yeah, it's just like calling somebody's name Steve Stu. So, but
Oh,
whatever.
it's not that different, but anyway.
Yeah, it is, but that's
No,
okay
it's
if you
fine.
don't mind.
I don't
It's
know, he has-
Raphael's problem because he's the one that came in here after Ralph helped build the fucking place 3 years earlier.
But anyway, head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form. Make sure you put your first, second, and third choice down there in case your prize is already picked. And congratulations, Raphael.
Yes, congratulations, Raphael. That makes you the first winner of the week. Good job. That makes you the technical pop quiz hot shot for today. So, way to make it happen. Way to be a well-informed member of Gun Channels.
And it was a YouTube winner today. I want to make note of that too.
Yeah.
So even with the potential delay, they still got it.
Maybe there's not a lag so much on this YouTube channel.
I wonder.
So we have a patch panel over. We have pictures of it over on our website, dailygunshow.com. When you're a winner of a pop quiz or the tactical quiz on Wednesdays, we send you over. You can take a look at the panel, decide which one you want, let us know where to send it, and a couple of guesses just in case someone's already grabbed the one that's there. And we send those out to you. It's a way to say thanks for the people that are participating live in the show. And every once in a while we keep threatening, but we will do some of these through via email or something so that people that are listening to podcasts can participate as well.
You know, that would be great for the Friday show because then they would have potentially all weekend.
Yeah, we should start doing that. We could do like a Friday poll also. Get the polls working.
Oh, yeah. Do we think we're going to end up having a poll this week? Because what was the answer to the poll from last week?
Polls are broken still. I have to figure out what's broke on them.
Dang polls.
Yeah.
Broke
All right.
poll.
What are the girls going to do?
Dance on something else. Dance on
I
the
guess
chair.
so.
All right, so that will take us into the next segment of the show. So every day we like to hit that the pop quiz. We did that. We have a couple other things we like to hit every day, such as the gun shop of the day. And I could have sworn I had a gun shop already listed today. Maybe I don't. Where's my show notes? What? Are you kidding me? So I guess we didn't have any show notes in here. So you guys have any ideas for the gun shop today?
I used my one and only favorite, my all-time favorite, just about a week and a half ago. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of gun shops around me. I've got like 3.
Let's see. Maybe Maui Surplus? Let me see if I can find a link. Let me see. It used to be DT Sports, but now I believe it is Maui Surplus. And they do have an FFL, but I just want to double check. Let's see. And this is the one. This is not the one that I use the most, but this is the one that the people working at, I find that I can just stand around and shoot the breeze, talk story. It's really, I know when we did the Maui ones that I did cover it. It is, again, Maui Surplus, formerly DT Sports. Even though DT Sports, it says technically next to it, it's the same company or people running it, I should say. They definitely have a wide variety of surplus stuff to buy and everything like that, as you'll see in the link. They do also, that's the Dillon rep for the island, I believe, as well, for Dillon Reloading Supplies, which is another reason I really like hanging out there. And then also for the FFL portion, they don't usually have a large amount in stock, but they're always more than happy to order anything, and usually they're pretty easy on all of that kind of thing. They do always have ammo on hand and all of those other good things as well. But as far as like a large selection of firearms, there's not really a large selection of firearms. And that would be Maui Surplus.
Right on. So that's our goal, is to hit a new shop every day. we'll get back on track. Let's say we're doing the monthly scheduling. So when we do the get together once a month to do the scheduling, hopefully people bring some ideas for gun shops then as well.
Oh, also, I don't know if we, Darren on the YouTube side, I don't know if we want to add it for a future, but he did give us an idea for one. I don't know if we want to mention it now or just save it for later.
We see it. We'll mention it later. So
Okay.
Put it in our list.
As long as we know the city it's in, we can Google it.
Well, you can Google it without knowing what city it's in.
Oh, yeah, but that's a name that could be, there could be more than one with that name.
We know what it is.
Okay, as long as you guys do.
All right, so let's see. That'll take us into the. What do we do? Movie of the day.
I thought we were gonna do some gun tech, but
yeah, I jumped early because of your question about goofy music.
Oh yeah,
and I think that may have thrown you off.
Get segued.
I thought we were ahead of where we are. Yeah, so let's do.
You want some more segue music? I got it right here.
No, but I was gonna say.
He'd hide his head.
What
That's
happens?
okay.
This is what happens when we don't have audience participation. This is so we do have the list of the topics up there though on the website. If you go under the Daily Gun Show archives, there's a little thing that'll pop up that says daily topics, and that's where we like to remind people what our daily topics are, so that if you've got an idea for something, you can send it in to us. But if you have an idea for some kind of an intro music or whatever, like transition music for like gun tech or the Second Amendment issues, then send them in so we can play with that stuff. We don't make any scratch on the podcast themselves, like through YouTube, so we can play some music and stuff like a radio show would. And who cares if we get a strike? We're not really doing it for the monetization. So I figured we could have a little fun with playing around with the sound files or whatever. So anyway, give us some ideas for that. We will dig into gun tech this segment, and specifically integrally suppressed pistols. Where do we want to go with that?
Well, we could probably start with Silencer Co. and move from there, right?
I think what will make a major difference is if we do end up getting positive movement with the act in Congress, that will be such a huge push for advances in technology, especially in this category.
Yeah, the Hearing Protection Act, removing the prohibition on like creation and innovation.
Right, because that'll remove a huge amount of barriers to people who have a CNC machine and an idea.
Well, I was specifically talking about an integrally suppressed pistol, which would be the Maxim 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was also going to talk about the integrally suppressed 22 from SRT Arms. I don't know if that's what you were talking about when you said integrally suppressed pistols or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people think about now because they're the new ones, but integrally suppressed Mark IIs have been around since Mark IIs have been around pretty much. So they're just lending themselves to removing the barrel and putting a integral suppressor on there, meaning part of the barrel, not screwed on the end as an accessory. Yeah, I think we're going to see all kinds of new ones coming. Do you guys had a chance to look at the Maxim 9 by any chance? Has it been in the shops or anything anywhere? Or have you been able to see enough YouTube videos to get an idea of what it's like?
I've just seen pictures because they're not even, because we are a non-NFA state.
Oh, really? There's
but
well, okay.
I think it definitely shows, a lot of what a couple of manufacturers can do, but because of the restrictions and the expense of trying to hold on to inventory while the customer clears the paperwork, so to speak, really suppresses the amount of ingenuity that could take place in this area of firearms.
No, of course I haven't had a chance to try one out. They are completely illegal in the state of Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, I'm not used to that. So, I mean, even stuff that might not buy, you can usually go to a gun shop and look at it at least. So yeah, it's annoying. If there's not even the ability to have NFA in your state, then I guess you're not going to be able to go to a gun shop and drool over stuff either.
Right.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, watched videos, seen read articles and stuff like that. Very much interested. Of course, I would rather see them do it with a 45 than a 9, but that's just my base opinion.
Yeah. It's also hard, via the internet to get appreciation for whether it be the 9, the 40, or the 45 in a suppressed state. The 22, I can kind of get a feel for it via the internet, but the other calibers, not so much. I know I'm not getting the full effect of what it actually sounds like.
And yes, I agree with Doogie out there on the gun channel side. Those SRT arms 22s do look sick. I agree with you on that. And to be honest, I do like the look of the Maxim 9, and I also know that there are other integrally suppressed pistols out there that we're not referring to. Actually, there's probably more than you might think. Actually, but again, I have no regular chance to actually get a chance to go see them. That's my shortcoming. I usually have to be on the road traveling or something like that in a different state to even, whether hold on to one or go check one out, which just encourages me to travel more. And I do want to thank the people both watching on YouTube and on gun channels. I know that we switched the show over to its own channel today, but I do notice that we do have 34 people watching at this exact moment, and that's awesome. That's great. I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks again, and also encourage you to let other people who might be interested in the show. Send them an email when the show's starting or now, and let the show grow. That's the whole point. So we've got the whole branding and everything. Now you can just send them to Daily Gun Show, and wherever they type that in the internet, they're going to find one of our entities, and that'll drag them to whatever it is that's live at the moment. So we do appreciate that.
And I'm going to go ahead and take
this opportunity. Of course, that includes you guys on gun channels. Don't be like that. Don't be so sensitive. Now, I do want to ask, though, G, since Dano and I really don't have an option locally to check stuff out, how many, other than the two that we were mentioned with the SRT and the Maximum, how many integrally suppressed pistols do you think you've checked out over the years? Even whether it's at SHOT Show or NRA or wherever.
Like different kinds, not that many, but Mark IIs, like Rugers, they take the upper off and put an integrally suppressed one on there. Can't even count.
That's like been a thing for a while, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, that's super popular for all the time. I mean, it makes the gun lighter because it's basically like putting a little pencil barrel on there, but then it looks fat, so it's just a super. And they don't make any noise, so they're super fun. They're not big. 22s are gonna people don't even think about what's gonna happen with 22s. And my favorite bullet, the 22 short, I can't even imagine what they're gonna be able to do for 22 shorts because that's so easy to suppress anyway. With the 22 powderless stuff, imagine what they could do with how little a suppressor would have to do to make a gun that operates like that. I mean, there's just gonna be so neat. And then 17, do you think 17 will get a comeback? The 17 HMR and the Mach 2?
You think so? Because that moves so fast, it kind of almost defeats the purpose of being suppressed.
Well, here's
the drawbacks is the larger calibers.
Guns are
machines.
Guns are
right.
are things that solve problems. They accomplish tasks, right? Gun antis love to suggest that they only exist for killing people because they only see what they feel like seeing. But in real life, we know that there's nerds out there and there's engineers out there and there are fidgeters out there and there are modifiers out there and there are inventors out there. And come on, when you get rid of the infringement of registration and prohibition and you let people play with a new machine, you give them a new thing, a new characteristic of their machine to play with.
New sandbox to play in. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I definitely look forward to it.
definitely customers for it. Right now, the problem is there's no customers because you got to pay $200 just to play the game, just to get in the mix, right? And then you got to deal with whatever that requires the company to develop it. Well, now you talk about every machinist out there, everybody with a mill, everybody with a 3D printer. Come on, if
yeah, because you can manufacture it for yourself if you're not selling them. That is correct? Yes.
Well, there's a Glock. What was I say? Disposable, like perishable suppressor. It works for a while, and then you throw it away. It's made out of plastic, like Glock, right? So it's something that can just fit over the side of the outside of a barrel, or fit over the threads. Who knows? So who knows what kind of attachment points they're going to come up with to create things that you 3D print and then discard when the baffles are dead.
Let me ask you a question.
Or recycle.
Obviously, know little to nothing about is and the little, and I'm going to say something and then I want you to correct it with what the truth is. But my impression has been is that no suppressor company that I'm certainly aware of has been able to suppress the crack of when a bullet breaks the sound barrier.
That's why there's subsonic ammo invented. Like that's why the 45 quite possibly is the best pistol to be suppressed, because
the 45 ACP was the perfect pistol cartridge.
I did kind of just say that, and you know what? I am actually going to stand by that. Actually, now I did stipulate for suppression, but
9mm can go either way depending on how it's loaded. 0.7.
I always figured that 9mm went both ways.
No. I guess what I'm saying is that currently we're not aware of even the more expensive ones really doing supersonic crack. I mean, it can't be dealt with. I mean, that's what having a whole lot more engineers working on the problem might be able to bring to the table.
Well, you have to use subsonic ammo for that. You can't just, because there's nothing that's going to slow the bullet down out of a regular round, and it wouldn't either impede accuracy at the very least, let alone distance. Because if you're trying to slow it down physically,
there are things
you're changing all kinds of variables with the physics that would be potentially dangerous.
And that's why there are geometrical things that they do to the shapes of planes to change the aspects of noise or sound that they make when flying through the air.
Well, we're talking about the pistols, so I think you're asking more about the bullet or the...
because they kind of go hand in hand.
Well, I don't know if there's an answer to your question. Can the gun suppress the sonic boom? I don't know. What are they going to have it happen inside of the can somehow? So I think that you're talking about something that the gun isn't going to do anymore. Is what your load is going to accomplish.
Exactly.
Your creation of your ammo. So anyway, I think the answer to it is that you shoot a subsonic, either variant of that ammo or a subsonic caliber.
Yep. Which would be much easier and a cheaper solution to a problem than actually trying to re-establish the rules of physics.
True. And I don't disagree. And like I said, I come to this issue telling you I know very little, so please educate me.
Well, for example, my air rifle breaks the sound barrier, and it's not even, it's not even a firearm, but yet I still get that crack. There isn't much that you can do once it leaves the barrel. That's the whole point, right? But I definitely like the fact that the Hearing Protection Act may be moving forward, which then may allow for more integrally suppressed pistols and firearms in general, let alone just the ease of purchase of suppressors as a whole. I definitely, and again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the fact that the state of Hawaii, at least maybe looking at, I'm not saying necessarily moving forward in the direction, but at least somebody up there was looking at it for hunting purposes. And that's probably our gun tech segment for today.
Yep. Actually, it took that farther than I thought we might be able to, but that's pretty good.
I got Canadian texted. He claims he's super busy trying to get things ready for some sort of a thing, some sort of a doctor appointment. So he's blaming it on Canadian healthcare, I guess. Blah blah blah. Maybe he'll have time tonight to go on a chat. So
see, it's not all it's cracked up to be, folks. Just so you know out there, thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side.
Do we consider this a blessing of the Canadian healthcare system because we don't have Bob, or is it?
You don't want to hear my answer.
It's. I kind of feel bad for Bob because you know how he changed the days and the timing of the show every day of the week, so it continues to screw him up.
Yeah, it's so complicated that we constantly have, pick a different date and time to start.
Yep.
Oh well, he does all right for a Canadian.
We got to have one on the show when he wants to show up.
So we didn't talk about that because he ain't here to talk about it, but we should have said that at the beginning of the show. There was that thing that happened up there, and then I'm seeing already stuff that now they're backing off of it because of the country or the religion of origin or whatever the hell it would be of the person who decided to be a murderer up there.
2 people.
Yes.
And they happen to be from another place, yes. And they may have been in the country just as of recently from a war-torn area of the world. And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff coming forward on that.
Unless
As soon as it doesn't fit the narrative, it disappears. As soon as it doesn't fit their paradigm, it gets removed from the news cycle. Weird.
Yep. And Dano, now you do understand that there's like a left side and a right side of that religion in general, correct?
Absolutely, and they are at war.
Well, and they have been for thousands of years. So, I shouldn't say for thousands of years. I guess it's really been like 1,300 years,
right.
But whatever.
Over 1,000.
Yes. So, when somebody tried to tell me yesterday that, that couldn't have happened, they don't do that. I'm like, you've never read a book? You don't know? And some people want to know and some people don't want to know.
It would be the equivalent of saying, aren't all Christians Catholic? No, they're not.
As a Catholic, I would say that I may assume that, but I would be assuming that incorrectly.
Exactly. And to say all Muslim are of one particular type of Muslim faith would also be wrong.
Correct. So that's Canada in a nutshell. A mystery wrapped in an enigma.
I think we were wrapping up the gun tech though. So yeah, we had quite a bit of stuff on the gun tech, and like I say, we've got that segment open every Monday. So if you've got ideas, I think we got the February pretty much wrapped up, but if you got ideas for next month, feel free to email them to us, or we have a slot on the website, dailygunshow.com, where you can put suggestions in there as well. Let's see. So we are
also want to take this opportunity, if I can, just for a sec, to thank our Patreon supporters out there. I appreciate it. Your notes and comments are appreciated and welcome. So thank you.
Yep. And we have a couple of different Patreon levels. The $3 level, so $3 a show, which comes out to like $12.
Hey, wait a minute. Slide back up to that picture. Okay. Continue.
So as $3 or more Patreon members, there's two of you out there. You're going to get an opportunity to get one of the random patches off here. We'll do that tomorrow, last day of the month, right? And so we'll pick one of the 2 members there live, or if anybody else wants to jump in, then you get to pick one of the exclusive patches off of this panel. You get things like the Radioactive Flippy, the Zombie Bob, the Mr. Knives, Island Z. Look at that, Matt.
I don't even have one of those.
You don't even have a Z? You have a Never Enough Ammo.
Right, I have the Never Enough Ammo, but I do not have the Z. I guess I'm going to have to become a Patreon supporter. But I'm already, anyway.
And then nobody has a Radioactive Bob, or a Zombie Bob, or a Radioactive Flippy.
I kind of like the Radioactive Flippy. It's almost orangish.
He's got yellow eyes. Anyway, so that's something we like to do to say thanks to the people that are supporting the show. We do a charged for the show every Friday, so it's 4 times a month. So it's a little bit different than some of the other Patreon accounts out there. So feel free to put a limit on it when you set up becoming a Patreon. You can put a limit to how much per month. Feel free to do that. We're not trying to screw anybody over. We have to do it incrementally, to do it this way so that we can do the giveaways and stuff. So we're having fun with it, and like Dana said, thanks to the people that are making it possible. You're really letting the show let us put more time into the show. So thank you for that. Hopefully everyone's going to experience a better show from it. So what are we going to next? Is that a movie?
Now we go into the movie.
We should have some kind of like Siskel and Ebert soundtrack thing we can play here for the movie part. So we try to recommend a movie every day that's gun related.
Somebody
maybe something
transitional music. Is that what we need?
Yeah, maybe just stuff I hear all the time. So we try to talk about a movie that you haven't seen in a while, or you're an old folk, and if you're a youngin, maybe a movie you haven't seen yet. Go ahead. What was that?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Somebody just interrupting rudely.
Sorry, I had a misfire.
So,
That's what she said.
we'll keep working on that. But yeah, we like to mention a movie every day. Today, the movie is miniseries, I guess. So Ken Burns does a series of these things, documentaries. This one is The West. This was 3 parts, right? I'm trying to remember.
It may have been more than that.
Yeah, I thought it was more than that, but
Let's see. Because I was just on the West Wiki page not that long ago either. Dang it.
And I'm pretty sure I saw it off of Netflix.
I think that's where I saw most of these too. So these were made for PBS?
Okay, check it out, dude. There are, as far as episodes go, there are 8 episodes, but the episode 8 is a part 1 and part 2. So if you want to call it 9 episodes, then you can call it 9. Or actually, wait a minute.
So you can watch it on Amazon Prime. I just threw a link out there. And then
really?
Right by it. Yeah, it's on Prime. It's 9. They have it as 9 episodes that are, I don't say how long they are. Oh yeah,
okay.
1 hour each. No, they're all an hour and a half, and then the last 2 are an hour each. So
excellent. Is that free on Prime, or that's a rental?
With Prime, you watch it for free.
Okay, done.
So you pay for Prime, but then you're getting free shipping. Yeah. You watch movies and stuff. So the first one is The People. The next one is Empire Upon the Trails. The third one is Speck of the Future. Fourth one is Death Runs Riot. Fifth one is Grandest Enterprise Under God. Sixth is Fight No More Forever. 7 is Geography of Hope, and 8 is Ghost Dance. The last one is One Sky Above Us, talking about the Los Angeles. They talk about the changes brought by the West, conquest of the West, groups that resisted the conquer of the West, the Civil War, the New Hope in the West. Looks like a focus on a California.
And it's different people. What do you call it? It's like narrated by one, but there's other voices and stuff like that. It's got several different interviews with people. One of them is probably pretty close to your world, G, and that's Stuart Udall. Udall.
Mm-hmm.
You know very well who that person is, yes?
I don't know. There's a lot of shit named after Udall around here, though. Yeah,
that's because that dude was an American politician and later the federal government official, I think, for the Department of the Interior. After serving congressman for Arizona, he served as Secretary of Interior from 61 to 69. But he's also the guy that was there for, man, where was it? Lots of the park stuff. And yeah, there are many reasons that there's a lot of Udall stuff in your neck of the woods for sure. And the wiki forum is good. I wish it kind of said the portions that he affected sooner. But yeah, he's one of the interviewees in The West by Ken Burns. And I don't know that I've ever watched all I don't think I've ever watched all of the episodes, so I definitely am going to go back and watch them. Ken Burns, I think the first one I ever watched by him was, I think, the baseball one. And he's a pretty good documentarian, even if the subject matter that he is doing is something that you don't particularly care for, because I know he's done some other ones that are maybe something that I'm not as interested in. But
Well, my
this is,
favorite Prohibition one, then followed by probably this West one. I think I've seen Civil War one's pretty good too, right?
Yeah, I've seen all three of those, and it's difficult to say which is better, best. They're all excellent. It's just a matter of your personal interest. And all
Well, I
Exactly.
feel the
unfortunately,
Prohibition one is the
that's-
best because it is just three: the beginning of, under, and then the repercussions of it. And when I watch it, it's like it's pretty neat because you can put it to guns, you can put it to the drug war, you can put it to all kinds of things that we've got going on. So it shows how we can get duped, I guess, or get distracted, or get led in the direction that the state's going to save everything, but we're not, and then get to the point where we literally are under the infringement of, but it's not a lost cause because it also can be repealed. So that's why, and it's consumable. It's 3 shows. It's not like this one, which is 9. It's, you have to be dedicated to watch a 9. Like you said, you haven't even seen them all. It takes a while to watch 9 hours of
yeah.
programming.
I would say, especially if it's something quality, especially when it's broken up, what's the rush?
No, it's not
Well,
that it's rush, it's just that when it's consumable, when it's 3 hours and you get a complete,
you can kind of get it all done in an evening, so
Yeah.
to speak.
you can actually get the experience. I mean, there's something to be said for having to be an immersion, but that's not going to get across to so many people. Anyway, that's just why I like that Prohibition one. This one is definitely good too.
And
It's about America. It's
AMC
about
did
the
one called The West just this last year, but it was more infotainment than an actual real hardcore documentary like this Ken Burns did.
But I think it really brought home for myself. I don't live in a Western state, or in a place where there's native peoples. We've driven them all out of the area that I live. So I have basically zero exposure except for TV and movies, and that's it. And what I was taught in school. So for me, home to a deeper level, the sum of the stories of the indigenous peoples that were here where I live now, as well as we're out on the East Coast, as well as we're in the North and the West, and the stories of all those nations and what inevitably happened to many of them. Even the ones that cooperated.
I think it's funny the way that you put it about West and natives, and my response would be to that there are no states further west than me, and I probably am, by virtue of ratio, surrounded by more natives than probably anybody else.
Yeah.
Which also just leads to an appreciation, which is a good thing.
But things like
So Ken Burns, The West,
like,
2 thumbs up, must watch. You should definitely try and take the time when you can to watch it.
I mean, but to see visual representations of things that we may have barely remember, or maybe were never taught, like the Trail of Tears. I mean, just all sorts of different things, and that some of the things that Lincoln did. We always think of it as Lincoln was such a great guy, and he did some things that weren't exactly so great when it came to treating the Native Americans. So it was very, it kind of, it wasn't that I was unaware of those things, but it kind of brought it into a sharper focus for me.
Well, it always looks different when you're looking at it as it's happening than having the presence of mind to be able to look at something after it's happened decades and decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Smeggy, you are correct. I was pretty much raised near the big lake they call Gitchagumi.
let's not bring up the whole conquest of the eastern Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't want to bring that up, sir.
We had a lively debate last night, Smeggy and I, about the Michiganders, the Mitten States conquest of eastern Wisconsin.
It was probably one of the most brilliant moves that a Michigander ever made. Was, you know what? I got this thing in one hand called Toledo, and over in this other hand, you want to give me something that is, oh, sure, there's no people, but it is stocked full of natural resources. Yeah, here you go. You can have Toledo every time. I'd still make that deal. Just saying.
I'm just saying it's sad that true Wisconsinites have just given up their heritage.
Wisconsin wasn't even a state, I don't believe, at the time.
Given up to the invaders. It's Stockholm Syndrome. All right, so that'll take us into whatever the next. So
Wait. Thumbs up. Would you recommend it? Come on now.
Oh, yeah. 2 thumbs up. I'm giving it.
Okay. Dano?
Absolutely. 2 thumbs up and 2 feet up.
Okay.
I don't have enough thumbs to give it.
We're going to assume that Bob's going to give it whatever the equivalent of a thumbs up would be in Canada. Stack of ham.
4 pieces of bacon.
Yeah, but their bacon is Canadian bacon, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, they call that ham. Anyway, moving on.
That'll take us to, let's do the healthy tip, I suppose. So every day I try to remind that the most important part of the gun is the part that pulls the trigger. So with that in mind, throwing some healthy tips out there. I'm recycling some from last year. So if you've got ideas for the healthy tips, you can always throw those in an email and send them to us at dailygunshow@gmail.com. But today's is take along one of those lightweight portable folding chairs, those things that kind of umbrella open and or whatnot are pretty handy. I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure most people are familiar with those already from either fishing or going to events and stuff. But I've noticed that when you have a couple of those around, you can make life a lot easier. Have a kid sit down or something, rest your feet for a bit, take a break for if you have to deal with something on a computer or phone or something, you can sit down and not have to be in the middle of a crowd or something where the picnic tables are.
Yeah, and
there aren't picnic tables everywhere you go.
That's true. And if you're attending one of these mega conventions, whether it's SHOT Show, NRA Show, Wanamaker Gun Show, or ones with just very mega-sized conventions, they don't always necessarily have, a chair for a place, when you could, really need to sit down for just 5 minutes, where you happen to be.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, you bring
down
folding
the
chairs into SHOT Show, they will run you out on a rail, dude.
Okay,
You're right.
There are
SHOT Show, maybe.
trifold chairs that are smaller than what you used to put a camera on.
Oh, you mean a tripod?
A tripod when it's collapsed.
I mean, you want to be appropriate for the venue for sure. But I guess when I'm thinking these chairs, I'm thinking so many times I used to go with maybe like a cooler and be like, oh, we'll just sit on the cooler. But then that's not as easy as, or just not as comfortable as being able to sit back into a chair or whatever. Or you go to an event and you figure, oh, I'll just sit on a rock or something. And then you'd see a million people sitting in these damn chairs.
Oh, no, gee, I'm totally in agreement with you about packing a folding chair, whether it's the ones that like fold in half or the ones that fold up into a tube or whatever. Like, I'm totally with you on that. I'm just simply saying that folding chairs, from everything that I've seen, like at something specifically like SHOT Show, would get you in, I don't want to say in trouble because that doesn't sound right, but definitely you would draw the ire, because then are you just going to sit in the middle of the aisle on your folding chair, or?
Well, again, if you're talking about an indoor event, yeah, I mean, dragging along a giant like aluminum folding chair would be a pain in the butt. Plus, you wouldn't need to really at those kind of events. There are chairs everywhere. But if you think about like a gun show, like the Dan's talking about, yeah, there's not. I mean, there are places where you can sit at, but this place is huge. So to get to the place where you sit at, number one, there's going to be a bunch of other people sitting there, so there might not be chairs, depending on if it's lunchtime or I don't know when everybody else gets tired. But one of these kinds that kind of fold up like an umbrella or like a tripod,
Mm-hmm.
that you put the little strap around it and it keeps it all nice. If you had one of those fairly small ones, and some of those are like a cane, like they're just literally a little
And then the
stool.
seat pops over.
Yeah, and if you and some of these ones for fishing are pretty small because they're really just to give you a place to set your butt on and not be super comfortable, but just a
They're
place
like
to sit
20
down.
inches off the ground. And
Yeah,
it
and
actually
if you
has a
stuck
strap.
if you brought one of them in with you, and like we're already talking about the next Tulsa show having our own table for gun channels, so now you'd have
Nice.
a place to put that chair, right? Here, I'm going to stow this, and then whenever I get tired, I'll come over and sit on it. Or if you have a friend at the show who has a table, and you say, "Hey, do you mind if I shove this underneath your table? And when I get tired, I'm going to come over and sit on it." That way, you're not asking them for one of their folding chairs, which may or may not be limited supply in the show. Plus, like Dan was saying, you can just kind of put that over to the corner, sit next to the
Oh, I
food.
totally understand it's ease of use in wanting one for something like that. Again, I was just specifically talking about the hordes of people walking through SHOT Show. That's all I was referring to. The gun show, I totally see its value.
Like any show, you have to put it where it's appropriate. You don't put it in the middle of the pathway.
Now, if you're Edge or somebody, you might just go right to the middle of a crossroads, a big thoroughfare, put that chair down, and just take questions from the people walking by.
Maybe if you felt like taking questions.
Well, it's an opportunity for all those people.
Yep.
As you want to give back. Anyway, so that's the healthy tip today. And here's the thing: I never bought those things because I find them obnoxious, also, and I never wanted them. But anyway, I bought one because they're like $15, and they're pretty darn solid. So I got one in the van, and been surprised how much I liked it. I didn't think I guess I'm used to them from back in the day fishing, and you'd buy them for way more than that, 20-something plus bucks.
Yeah.
Kind of shitty, and you take them out camping a few times, and they'd fall apart. Get them a little bit too close to the fire, some nylon on it melts, and the rivets crack, and it's just a garbage. And they're not nice enough that you can like hobble them back together necessarily. I mean, you can kind of keep them going, but anyway, they had always been junk. So this last one I got for $15 or whatever is pretty darn nice. So I guess that's why I've been throwing it in as a healthy tip, because they're
Yeah, I like the ones that are the and I know we're talking about folding chairs as a thing. We're almost talking about windbreakers here, but the ones that do, they fold up almost like a tripod, and they fit in the bag. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like almost a tube.
yeah, they're
And
not much bigger than a fishing pole or something that you might be carrying around, or an umbrella.
yeah. So, for example, like currently with the vehicle that I have now, no. However, when I had the Jeep, yeah, I usually had at least two in bags in the back of the truck at all times. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Dano. I got you. Something slightly more involved in that. Were the ones I'm referring to.
But the thing Daniel's showing you there, those things are like nothing. I mean, that's like a flashlight or something when you fold it up. And that can be being able to stay at an event for a couple of hours or more, and then thinking about how the hell to get out of here, you know, and making it like you're that guy. Like, oh, that guy's not going to be able to hang out with everybody. He's only going to be there for an hour. I guess.
Folds up. It has a strap or like a sling. So it just goes right over your shoulder. Very light, very inexpensive, reasonably comfortable. It's about 20 inches off the ground. Also, you know, collapses to where it's all just one vertical. All those legs go vertical.
Yep.
It takes up no room whatsoever.
Wait a minute. We're talking about the collapsible chair. Dano might be talking about that couch back there, wheeling that couch all around.
No, the couch is mine.
Okay, that stays at the house. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the healthy tip. And what else do we got today? We have something says in here, 1835 shots fired in the House of Representatives. What's that supposed to mean?
Yes, today, in 1835, shots were fired in the House of Representatives. This is just kind of a historical thing. In the House chamber of the U.S. Capitol, President Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States, survives the first attempt against the life of a U.S. president. During a funeral service honoring the late Representative Warren R. Davis of South Carolina, a man identified as Richard Lawrence charged 2 separate pistols in the direction of President Jackson. Both weapons misfired, and Lawrence was promptly subdued and arrested. During the subsequent criminal investigation, the suspect was found to be insane and was sent to a mental prison. 3 decades later, President Abraham Lincoln would become the first president to be assassinated. So today was the first time somebody attempted to assassinate a president that we know of.
Crazy.
Yep.
Not today, specifically today.
No, this date,
Yes.
January 30th.
Well, Z, you've got some time today still?
What are we talking about, man? What do you want to talk about?
I'm going to throw another topic in because I think we've pretty much wrapped up the scheduled stuff for the day.
Yep.
So
We're in miscellaneous area.
yeah, if we've got time, I'd like to throw a new topic out there. I was just going to scroll through the Instagram feed and just chat about the general stuff that's come up, if that'll work for people.
Go
So-
for it,
Do you have
man.
any questions that have come in the chats?
No, people are just
We're doing
chatting
well.
typical stuff.
Yeah, we're just talking story over there.
Mm-hmm. So we had some fun doing this with the AK stuff on the AK chats, just going through and talking about picks. So I figured I'd go through. I've been putting some kind of just random stuff up recently, and then we can use it as sort of a summary thing, and then get some feedback from the viewers. So I came up with this new graphic to let people know, about the new show, the show being on the new channel, and work on that. I'll put the call out there. If anybody fancies themselves a graphic artist, I'd like to put together some graphics for the show, for the podcast, or for the website, or for the various social media platforms. Feel free. Here's the graphics are all over the website. Feel free to grab them and manipulate them and use them as you'd like, and be as creative as you can. We would appreciate it. We do like the show to be a collaborative effort. I posted this again. Kind of frustrated. I was planning the show out. We know we have the segment for Gun Challenge University, and today we were going to be talking about how to strengthen the grassroots. So, of course, memes and social media nudging is something that's it's a thing. So this is one I made a while ago. I just threw that out there to get people thinking about it. I did a thing this morning to let people know about Jimmy James doing that early watch.
Which he was back, correct?
Yep, they were doing the show this
Yep.
morning. I'm going to try to jump in as I do some of my computer stuff in the mornings too, more often. The other day I woke up and this jerk had figured out a new trick and got up in the middle of the night, switched places with me. I woke up in the bitch seat underneath all the dog slobber, like crammed up against the wall. So I don't know if he's a genius or he's just a jerk, but he's either becoming criminal mastermind or accidentally figured out how to screw me. Let's see. So then we had Dead Horses chat the other day.
We're going to be starting in about an hour. Live AR-15 build.
I don't know if we talked about that. We did an AR-15 build with Dead Horse,
gunchannels.com.
a 5.7 ounce AR.
And on YouTube.
This
on
is
the
it
gun
when it was
website's
still
YouTube
parts
channel.
here.
Got both laptops ready to go.
I don't know how to turn off the sound. This was when it was still all parts on the table, but it was a $1,800 build, 5.7 pounds overall. Pretty cool. It took 4 hours for us to film that one. Here's something we didn't talk about last week. I feel like we did it.
Yeah, I saw you post that, and for not being afraid of the glutens like I am, I still didn't rep the day.
You're scared of the
Just
gluten?
saying. No, I'm not gluten schmootens.
What?
Okay. So Friday was National Chocolate Cake Day, and we didn't even mention it
Yes.
on the show. So I did my part.
Somebody well represented it though in Instagram, if I remember correctly.
I went out to my
G-Webs.
favorite vegan place and got this vegan chocolate cake, which is definitely the best chocolate cake I've ever eaten in my freaking life. And then I got 2 pieces of that. But because I knew there was going to be enough pie people out there who would discriminate against this day, I went out and got extra chocolate cake from this other place because look how much frosting they put on that freaking piece of chocolate cake. And these were both very delicious.
So, what do vegans put in place of animal fat?
Or
their-
eggs, or
Yeah,
butter,
Avocado.
or milk.
Avocado.
Well, that's all animal products again.
Avocado is a plant.
Well, yeah, except for avocado.
Everything Z said was just emphasizing what you had asked. He was reiterating what you said.
Oh, gotcha.
This is another graphic that I don't know if I should keep calling the thing gun chat or not, or if that's I like to call it gun chat because that's what I think of it when we have this show. But that might be I might have to keep saying
I always like when you post this picture, dude. Or I mean, I shouldn't say this picture, but when you do a particular type of picture like this one, I always enjoy it because it's like one of those "Where's Waldo's?" in the, whether you're doing it as the tactical quiz, how many can you name, what do you recognize, all of that kind of stuff, and I'm usually looking for that little itty bitty revolver in there. That and this time it happens to be up in the almost top left hand corner with the white
Rome thing, RG10.
Yep.
So I need to figure out what to do with these things. So they're kind of like lame, but I do have a shit ton of them, so I might as well do something with them. So let me know what kind of videos or stuff I should do with them.
Now, would it be ridiculous to assume that there would be enough ammo to literally, maybe not necessarily run a whole mag through each of those, but say, a couple few rounds through each one of those, and you literally just have a line of like 10 of them at a time or something, if they're all your Jimenez or all your Ravens or all something like that, that literally just go, here we go. Bing, 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 bing. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying to be able to shoot these things with enough ammo in them so I could pick one up and go bang, 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 bang?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. That's a
Well,
lot of ammo. Is that a lot of ammo, or are most of those like 22s?
These are all 22s, 25s. That thing's like well, not all these work either. And then that's the thing. Like I've done it with the 22s before. It's a boring ass 34-minute video. I don't know if anybody ever watched it, and they don't all work, so it's pretty boring.
Which, by the way, we didn't do gun of the day yet either. Just saying.
What's the gun of the day?
Somebody had an idea for doing guns of the day, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something about a video.
Something that I got. Somebody has 3,000 plus videos of stuff that we could potentially, I don't know, draw from.
And we don't need to keep a list because we're going to remember them all.
So I was looking at the function test. So here it is. I guess it's been viewed 30,000 times, but it's 10 minutes of me shooting.
Well, do me a favor. Let's put that link out into the chats so that they can know what the gun of the day today is, because it looks like it's the J22.
Yeah.
All right, that's what we'll do.
How's that do? Because I like that.
Playing the
I get to watch a video on top of it.
Over here. So, boom. So this was most of the J22s. Now, that picture on Instagram was more than the J22s. It was a bunch of 25 revolvers and shit. But this is all the, basically the Raven was the first one in 25 ACP, and then his son made Jennings, and he basically downsized the same gun into 22 LR, and that was the Jennings J22. And then he had a domestic violence thing, so changed the company to Cal Westco, and then changed the name of the company again to Brico, and then Brico got sued out of existence, and it went to Jimenez, and then Raven, the original company, eventually started making this thing over here, which is basically the same gun, just made by Raven. And then there's probably also a Lorson on that table. And then what the hell was this thing called? This one over here was another company from Davis.
So is that the Dirty Dozen, G?
That's not a dozen, is it? 16.
Yep. I mean, last time I did math, but
4, 4, 4.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
we're missing a row.
So yeah, so it's basically, I'm saying, a bunch of the J22 cousins. So the J22s and their cousins. So it's all the Ring of Fire 22 caliber guns, minus, which one's it missing? I'm missing one Ring of Fire gun that's a 22. If you know, I have the Derringers from Davis and Cobra, but I'm missing a Sundance Derringer, which I still technically get.
No, And so you were just okay. Now I'm watching the video as you're talking here. So is that technically hammer fired? The way that's set up on the one, like the one you have in your hand right there, because I noticed that, like,
These are striker fired.
okay, okay,
I got little strikers.
yeah, because the way I was looking at them, like that's not any kind of hammer.
They're pretty simple. They're based off of the Browning, best Rocket Browning, really.
Now, in your opinion, still fun to shoot?
No, they're
No, is that because of the large hand, small firearm, or
they're just not
is
great.
it snappy even in a 22? What's the deal, yo?
There's nothing really good about them. They're adequate and they work, and I guess they shoot okay, but they're not comfortable and they're awkward and they're tedious. I'm not advocating.
You've given the counter argument as to why not to collect them.
Well, I didn't say not to collect them. I'm saying that if you're going to go out and shoot them, then I wouldn't buy these as the funnest thing to take to the range and shoot necessarily.
That's the point that I was trying to get at.
Harbor Freight tools. Are you going to go to Harbor Freight and buy that grinder because you just really like to grind metal and you don't care so much about the product or anything?
No, I got a job and I need to do it today. That's usually why I'm going, if I'm going to Harbor Freight for anything.
I find these fascinating because, like this one that I'm holding right now, it was made by Jennings and it has all its Jennings markings, but it was made at some era where Calwesco was actually sending it out. So it has a second roll mark from Calwesco. Normal people would never give a shit about that, but it means that it was built at a time when the parts were sold from one company to the other. So it's, it's a representation of that transition of the company. So for a collection that's trying to include that facet of the whole thing, that's an interesting piece. But
it's not quite a unicorn, but it is very unique.
Yeah, there might be thousands of them, but these are guns that are made millions of. So there might be 10,000 of that unicorn, and who cares?
Well, no, and you're talking about. I still think they're good-looking guns, to be honest with you. Like I'm looking at the shine on the majority of those, and they look nice and shiny.
They got some appeal, I suppose, if you like that cheap ass like Harbor Freight. I mean, look to them.
Well, man, we had a chat the other day about cheap guns. If you remember, I don't know if you were actually in the chat at that time. We were definitely talking about cheap guns, and now, granted, like you said, the majority of the ones in your Instagram picture were 22s, some 25s. So the majority of them you're not really going to use for defense so much. I mean, I guess unless that's all that you had.
Yeah, these I wouldn't go around buying these for defense. Obviously, tons of people.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I meant. Is like you're probably not going to use them defense unless literally that is all you had, because it's probably better than a rock. Slightly more distance than a pointy stick.
So what got you?
You've got the deterrent factor. A little old lady with that in her pocket or whatever, or brandishing that. I mean, it might not be ideal, but it obviously has historically saved many little old ladies' paychecks or Social Security checks or whatever. So
what got you interested in collecting that particular one?
Why? What?
Why did you initially start collecting them?
Why did I start collecting the J22 specifically? Because they are a representation of the Ring of Fire guns that it's obtainable. So I felt like I wanted to start collecting something, and I already owned like 2 of them. And my first gun was one of these little Jennings like this one probably. So I had some fondness for the thing. So when I looked at the overall, when I look at my, I don't know if I have it handy somewhere or not. When you look at the Ring of Fire family tree, so to speak, what the hell? What the hell happened right here?
Huh. Did you know that you stepped out?
The check didn't make it to reserve that DNS name.
I don't lose freaking counts. What the hell happened there? So anyhow, the hell is today?
Today is the 30th.
It's not Monday yet, or the first yet.
It is Monday, but it is not the first. You are correct.
Anyway, here. Okay, I'm pissed now. So if you look at the Ring of Fire lineage, then the 22 calibers are something that goes all the way through. Then not everything goes all the way through. Not every company made a 380. Not every company made a 25. Not every company made anything else except for a 22. So 22 is obtainable. The J22s are the majority of them. And like I say, the guy's an unscrupulous son of a bitch. So he started out doing a thing and then immediately started getting into trouble and immediately started changing the name of his company all the time. So it required a shit ton of them. Basically, they start in California at one place. They go to another. They start at his dad's place. They go to his own place. They go to his second place. They change names. They change names. They go to Nevada. They come back. They go to another place. They change names and they go to they go back to Nevada or something. So
Utah, right?
No, not these guys. They're
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would seem very expensive to be moving a factory.
No. Well, if you watch the Ring of Fire tour, the factories are like, in a big building. So they're a couple of thousand square feet. You just put all those machines into a couple of trucks and drag them to another building.
And in essence, that's exactly what they did when they left California in the middle of the night, practically.
I don't know about
I don't want to say to evade capture, but
they never. I don't know where you got all that. That never happened. They moved because California couldn't legislate the guns out of existence. So instead, they neutered them out of existence. They required the magazine safety. Or the magazine disconnect safety. They required an additional safety on the slide, and they required that little indication nub on their striker fire. So every time they required a new innovation that required new tooling, it was easier to move to another state to continue manufacturing than to create new tooling and stay in the same place. So they moved out of necessity of it was cheaper to move than to rebuild the gun. When you don't move, like Phoenix, you create a gun that has a safety on the slide and on the frame, has a magazine disconnect safety, and it has a indicator, loaded chamber indicator, and it's got so many stupid warnings on it, it's ridiculous. So you can just tell that this gun took more time to create and develop and pass. You have to pay to have these things go pass through the state thing. I think they almost do this as a FU to their infringements, mainly because they can, and they're willing to continue to oblige all their stupid requirements. But this is what the thing happens. This is what happens when you follow all the stupid safety requirements in California. It looks physical.
Now, is that the same Phoenix that somebody once boasted they shot 10,000 rounds through?
Yeah. Ed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
But that technically is and of course I don't mean the exact same gun, but that is the same make and model ish.
Yeah. But what you can do is take one of these Phoenix things with their long barrel option and then take one of these barrels off of your old ones and then put a new target barrel on your old one. So people do all kinds of fun stuff like that to hot rod these.
Okay.
So another reason to get these things is sometimes I can get these for 10 or 15 bucks. Sometimes I can get them for 30 or 40 bucks. And then
that blows my mind, by the way. I've never been around or witnessed a firearm for anything under practically $100. I mean, other than like a single barrel shotgun.
They're broken or nobody wants them anymore, and they're just getting made fun of for having it. People sell them to you cheap because they don't want them, and if you appreciate it and have fun with it, so like I don't know if you watch this video for 10 minutes, probably half of these don't work. So I could go in there and fiddle with them. So there's that whole forum over there where we do fiddle with them, and like say people hot rod them and change calibers on them or just change springs out. You can buy these things that are like forfeited or whatever they call buybacked or destroyed from evidence or something, and they'll just chop the frame all up and put all the rest of the parts in a bag for $8. So you buy the gun somewhere broken for $30 or $20 or $50, and then you buy a bag of parts for $8, and now you put it back together a working gun.
Well, no, see, that sounds like something. You get your tinker out of the way, you add to your collection, let alone spare parts.
Yeah, and you can, hot rod little parts and stuff, and it's fun to play with them. So, and then that's just the J22. So you multiply that times the old Spanish and Italian guns and whatnot, and your 25 ACPs and your 380s and whatnot. And
no, I can't help but notice that in the center of that picture, there's a diamond.
You mean this Glock 27, or you mean this Bauer 25 ACP? Which one costs more?
I'm gonna say the
Or this
Glock
thing.
did
Oh,
cost more.
This
Yep.
25 ACP with the intricately laser grip thing there. That when you push the grip safety, the laser goes on.
Nice.
Are you talking about the City of Industry first model Raven from the original freaking pile of Ravens that came out with a extendo?
With the stendos.
So there's quite a few neat ones in this picture. Or you could be talking about this Minx over here, 22 short Beretta.
Beretta, yeah.
Well, the Minx is definitely a classic because it's still made today. I mean, as are others, but still very
And how
popular.
about
How about
You
this
go
M10 Grendel that is an internal magazine and uses a AR-15 stripper clip to load 380s into the top of it?
what's the story with the rib? The ribbed one on the bottom, left hand.
This thing here?
Yeah.
It's that Phoenix again. Just looks different when it's piled up with good guns.
So that is a Phoenix?
Yeah, it's that same gun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just looks different with the top. Oh, I see it now.
Literally even in the same
The
line.
carpeting was blending.
But yeah, so that's a bunch of junk guns. So anyway, I don't know. I guess that's that segment for today. We just kind of went through some of the pictures over there on Instagram. I didn't hit it on this one. So yeah, we are 12 years old. We didn't even talk about this on the show last week, but 10 days ago, I guess during SHOT Show, we turned 12 years old. Pretty cool.
Congratulations, dude. That's what the chocolate cake was for.
See, that's why they made Chocolate Cake Day in dedication to that, probably.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. I do like the bacon burrito. Like, as in, there's no lettuce, there's no cheese, there's no egg, there's no potato. Literally, it's a tortilla and bacon. As in, that's like a no bullshit burrito.
Well, I would cram some of this tomato in there, and then lettuce, and then hot sauce. What do you think
Yeah,
of
that's a
the
winner.
10 millimeter Delta Elites with the rail?
Yes, I like.
I think I would do that.
I think it looks cool. And it should have been able to accept a light forever.
Can you go back to that Delta Elite? Was that? Did you get that picture at? Where'd you get that from?
SHOT Show.
Oh, okay.
Like, literally, it's just a couple few days old or a week
I
old
think
or
I did a
whatever.
little video of it.
I definitely have seen a couple videos from SHOT Show on that.
Oh, well, mine's not all going to be fancy or nothing, but I think I did get a little, like,
I was
closer.
throwing shade at somebody else completely different.
Cobra shot.
So, do you happen to remember the price on that, G? What's the MSRP? Like 1200, 1300?
It says right there. I think it says 13. I got
I'm
the
sure.
code.
I'm sure it's worth it.
Well, but then when you look at the cost difference between that and a Glock 20.
Does that show up?
Oh yeah.
Well, now wait a minute. I don't know that there's a comparison between that and a Glock 20.
Boom.
Glock 20 is going to have more rounds. I got a feeling that that Delta Elite trigger is going to be improved from your standard Glock trigger.
You see that? $12.99.
Yeah,
It's
probably worth every
the
nickel.
1911 that fires 10 millimeter.
No, but with a rail on it.
But
Yeah.
but with a rail.
And it's not just the 1911. It is a Colt Delta Elite. So
Yeah.
there is something else going on because you can get one of those in 45 as well.
I wouldn't want it at 45. Though. I like that thing. I like that thing right there.
I'm kind of with you on that. If you're going to get the Delta Elite, you should definitely get the 10 millimeter. That's why you're getting it.
Yep. It adds to the specialness.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's a winner in my book.
Nice and simple, and it's cold, so it's good to go. All right, so I guess that's our gun of the day, not this stupid Jennings. Awesome.
Right.
All right.
Delta Elite rail gun.
Any other miscellaneous stuff we want to touch upon before I fill and do my Bob thing?
Also, Dan was done with the Instagram portion of the show, so you can.
How about we do gun channels today?
We're okay. What an excellent idea! And today, being Monday, yes, I have to look sometimes. I get confused at the end of the show. We got Never Enough Ammo tonight, as always, holding down Monday. And of course, we've got the controversial Locked and Loaded, also known as Hawaii Volcano Squad, as well as We Like Shooting. And you never know who might pop up in We Like Shooting. Last week we had a snowman show up in We Like
We did
Shooting.
have a Gun Channels member. Well, we always have Gun Channels members, I guess, on We Like Shooting, but we had a very special Gun Channels member on We Like Shooting last week.
And of course, Jimmy James is back this week, doing the early watch from 9 Eastern, starting at 9 Eastern or 6 Pacific, depending on where you live, along with Tony and occasionally Night Strike as well. So we have that in the morning, and that is in Gun Channels today. Unless I missed somebody. Do we know if we have after chat? Anybody doing one today?
Yeah, I think Smeggy said he's setting one up. He already said he was driving home, I think.
All right. Yeah, I saw that he was driving home, but I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to do the after. So check out Gun Channels in the lobby. Smeggy may possibly have a lobby chat going up after this. So.
Right, we got an idea from Cosmo or an idea for a future show in the comments there. So I'm going to say thanks for that. And thanks again for everybody who followed us over to the new channel. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. We'll continue to put the reminders up over on the Gun Websites channel to let people know. But please let people know that we're completely branded over here now at Daily Gun Show on every single platform. It's just Daily Gun Show. Easy to remember. That's our email address as well. So hopefully we'll see more and more participation both on the daily chat and with the emails. We'll be doing more with the iTunes as well for the people that are listening to us is podcast, and with the support of the Patreon supporters over there, or with the help of the Patreon supporters, I guess, we will be stepping up our game on the editing and whatnot. So we're getting our planning together and our strategy for getting the shows built better, and with your help, we'll continue to use better tools to build the show so it'll sound better and continue to do more good, not just entertain, but hopefully inspire and lead the way with getting people motivated and getting things accomplished in the next 600 days. So thanks again to the hosts. Bob is around. He's just busy, but he's busy so that he can get his guns and get back down to the U.S. He may not be telling us, but since he talked about going to a doctor, he may be trying to patch up some of his war wounds from being down here, playing with in the big leagues. But he is coming down so that he can help to get out and see some of these gun shops. It's a goal of his and mine when we started doing the show. And again, I want to thank Z and Bob, or Dano, for keeping the show full of flavor and keeping it going for a year. We're really looking forward to what we got coming up. And that's it.
All right. Z, you got anything before we sign off?
Man, I'm all good.
All right. So that's episode 236. We'll see you tomorrow.
We like to end each show with a quote. Today we have one from Bobby Kennedy. And the quote is as follows: "What would you do if you knew you could not fail?" And with that, I want to thank you all for listening today, and please be prepared.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.
It's 11.
Let's all go to the lobby.